everybody, it's Casey, and I wanted to do a quick video about my shingles episode. I'm calling it the Shingles Epidemic of 2014. It sucked bad, but the good thing is it's been almost 2.5 weeks, and you cannot even tell that I have the shingles anymore, which is awesome because I had it on my face, and I don't have any makeup on or anything, and you cannot tell. So it's wonderful. I am over it now. But I'm going to start at the beginning just so if you've ever not had to deal with it, or if maybe you have a team member or one of your customers is dealing with it, you kind of know what's going on and how to help these people. So it was, I'm checking my calendar here to make sure I have the right day. June 25th, which was a Wednesday, I started feeling some sensitivity like on the right side of my face here, kind of down under my eye and in my scalp. So that night I put lavender on it and I had absolutely no relief. The next day, Thursday, it was worse and I was starting to get like some aching pains in my scalp and behind my eye. And later on that day I had my husband check my scalp just to make sure I hadn't gotten bit or something because I'm outside quite a bit. And he saw like a tiny red bump, but he didn't say it was like anything wild, you know. So by Friday, the pain had gotten worse. My skin had gotten more sensitive. Again, there was nothing on my face. I mean, it looked just like it did now, just normal skin. And he said up in my scalp that there were a couple more red dots. And we were worried that I had gotten bit by something, and we were really worried about Lyme disease because that's a big deal now. And I didn't have anything like bullseye looking, but the pain was something that we were really concerned about. So my husband said, Casey, we need to go to the hospital. I was not happy about that because with my history, I don't want to go to the hospital ever. I never want to go. And normally I wouldn't, especially if it's just this little, issue that I'm dealing with. I mean, I can't even imagine how many times I've not felt good and just used my oils and gotten over it. Don't need to go to the hospital. Well, with this, it had been getting worse. And I, of course, had been taking my supplements every day. I was putting oils on it and nothing was happening. So we ended up going to the same day clinic. And the first thing the nurse said when I got in there, she said, well, have you ever had shingles? So I had to explain to her, well, no, but, I had a stem cell transplant in November of last year. And, I've only had one round of immunizations and blah, blah, blah. So the doctor comes in and he just looks at my scalp. And the first thing he says is, oh, yeah, that's shingles. And I'm like, you don't have to test it. You don't have to do anything. And he's like, no, we see it a lot. I'm not a crazy fan of this doctor, by the way. So I was like, great. So what in the world am I going to do now? Because I had heard about shingles. There is one of my friends here in town has had shingles on and off for 2 years. And I was just like, no, I don't want this. And so because I also had some pain behind my eye, that my doctor ended up calling the optometrist where I go get my eyes checked. He talked to the ophthalmologist on call, and they discussed, because if I get shingles in my eye, it could be really bad. And they were cool with it. So the doctor gave me an antiviral, acyclovir. He also gave me an antibacterial and pain meds. The antiviral I got, okay, well, I get it because shingles is a viral infection and it affects that nerve, and that was why I was having pain, and that's why I got the pain medication. And at this time, I didn't really think I needed the pain medication, but I guess he kind of knew more than me. So, and I asked about the antibiotic, and I said, this is a viral infection. Why are you giving me an antibiotic? He was like, well, since it is kind of behind your eye, I just want to make sure that there's no, big issue going on back there. And I was just like, okay. I mean, if there was a big issue, I know my body well enough, and I can listen and sense things in my body so much better now than I could before using oils. I just thought if there was something like that going on, I would know. I would have a fever. I would feel bad. I don't feel bad. So I only ended up, I'm not good with this, but I only ended up taking those antibiotics about not even 3/4 of the time. I mean, because I knew it was pointless. Seriously, I knew it was. But the antivirals, I did not slack on. I took them all the time. I was taking about 800 milligrams 5 times a day of the acyclovir. And after my transplant, I was on acyclovir for not even 2 months because I was starting to have high liver enzyme numbers, so my doctor took me off of it. So I went through all cold season with no antivirals and practically no immune system either. There's a bug in here and it's going to drive me crazy. So anyway, I got my meds that night and I started taking my antivirals that night. Once I started taking the meds, it knocked me out. I mean, the whole weekend, I barely moved. I was sleeping 9 to 10 hours a night. I was taking like a 2 to 3 hour nap every day. And other than that, I was laying around. I wasn't hardly doing anything. I didn't go to the farmer's market. Like, my parents came and they brought some dinner one night. And, I mean, I barely even ate. Taking all those drugs, it totally wiped me out. I was not at all used to it. And during the weekend, I was trying to put some different oils on. I used some lavender and it burned. And then I put thieves on and whoo, that burned. And so I was of course, it was starting to spread by this time. So I was getting more patches in my hairline. And I just had it from like 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock on my face, just like right here. And it was starting to come down my face, and I took pictures of it every day, so I'll show you how it looked different every day, but it was really spreading, and it was really hurting, and the pain medication was not getting rid of the pain. Like, the pain was still absolutely there, but it was taking like the edge off of the pain. So when this wave of pain would come, it would just come in waves. I would just kind of like have to sit there and just kind of like breathe through it while it went away, and then it would go, and then I would feel better. But over the weekend, it was tough. Come Monday, I was starting to feel better. Not tons, but I was starting to feel better, but it was still spreading. And by Monday, the initial spot up in my scalp, that little red dot, had actually grown, but it was starting to scab. So I was like, okay, from what I had been told and what I had researched, once it starts scabbing, then you're like kind of on the end of it. So I thought that was awesome. I was so happy with the scabbing, which sucks having a scab on your head because like I know it sounds gross, but like I wanted to pick it so bad. It was just driving me absolutely nuts, and I'm not a picker. That's not my personality. But oh my gosh, it was just so irritating. That is a bug. That looks like a mosquito. Is anyone else having issues with mosquitoes in their houses? I never catch it with my hand, but I try to. And then Monday I started getting a little bit of redness on the outside of my eye, like on my eyeball. So I called my doctor, and she was like, well, do you have any changes in vision? Are you sensitive to light? And I said, no, it's just my eye is becoming red. So I went and actually saw my ophthalmologist Tuesday morning, and she checked my eye, and by this time my eye was like starting to swell up. And she said, it's just red and swollen because of everything else going on around it. That's why it's swollen and red. But your eye is fine. So she said, if it moved into my eye, I would know it would be extremely painful. Then I would have the changes in vision and sensitivity to light. And I didn't have any of that. So that was good. And I just really kept feeling better and better and better, throughout the day. But it still was spreading. I was still getting new little spots every day. In Wednesday, I didn't go to the market either, and I felt better Wednesday, but I mean, like, it was totally obvious that something was wrong with my face. Like, I just had these huge red marks here, and plus, since I had been using oils that had burned, it had made the spots more red around it, so it made it look really even worse. But then, I think it was Tuesday that I started using frankincense, and it did not burn, and it like made my skin feel better. And the next day, even though I was still getting new areas popping up, the old areas were feeling better and they were looking better. And the frankincense was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, hands down, that's where I'm going. I would put it on at least once a day, usually after my shower. But if I could do it in the morning and the evening, sometimes I would do that too. And I would drop it into my hair and just rub it all in my hair where I had sensitivity still. So it was by probably Friday of that next week. It had been a week and a half by this time. I went to the market, and people could kind of tell, but I don't think they would have known it unless they said, yeah, I have shingles on my face. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what that is. Like, it wasn't obvious. People were like, what's wrong with her face? It wasn't that at all. So a lot of people just didn't know. So I had to like point it out to them that that's what it was. Um, that Friday was the 4th of July, and by the 4th of July, my swollen eye had completely gone away, and there was no more redness anymore. The eye doctor actually gave me some re-wetting drops, which I kind of like giggled at because I'm like, what's a re-wetting drop gonna do, you know? But actually, it did make my eye feel better, and it did help the redness go away a little quicker, so that was nice. But I did have a swollen eye for about 3 days, 3 or 4 days. But by the 4th of July, I just woke up and it was completely gone. So then the Sunday through the next Wednesday, I like just 90% of them went away. And I still had that big old scab that finally came off probably 3 or 4 days ago. And so my 2 week anniversary with the shingles epidemic was July 9th, which was 2 days ago. That was my 2 week. And like I said, 90% of the shingles were gone. The only thing I have now, I still have a little bit of sensitivity in my hair, mainly just right here, which is where it began. And my face just has a little bit of sensitivity like right here and pretty much nothing anywhere else. I have a little part, you're not going to be able to see it. Hardly anyone could see it anyway, unless I like made them get on my face. I have a little bit of a dry scab here. When they scabbed up for me, it was just like it just looked like dry skin, really. So I'll have a little bit here. I have a little bit kind of on the inside of my eye here, and then I have a little one kind of under my eyebrow right here. Those still have a little bit of a scab on it, but again, like my glasses cover it, you can't even see. I still kind of have a lingering headache, and it's just kind of randomly throughout the day, and it still kind of starts up here. I have been done with my antivirals. I was only on them for a week, so the Friday after, so a week and a half since it started, I was completely done with my antivirals. I still have some pain meds, but I don't take them anymore because I just don't really need to. I wasn't having that crazy pain anymore. That pain is horrible. And shingles sucks, and having it on my face really sucked, but I was happy that I didn't have it like somewhere where you had a lot of clothes, like under your bra strap or, where the top of your pants are. If it had constant pressure or contact, that would have been so much more worse. So I didn't like having it on my face, but I guess I'm glad it was there because it's not like I had a lot of pressure or anything on it or anything rubbing against it because it sucked. But I'm all done with it, and the supplements that I was taking during this time was Inner Defense, which I take one a day, like no matter what. I just take one a day all the time. And they say that you can take them like 3 to 5 times a day. I think there was maybe 2 days I took 2 of them. Really, I didn't change my routine hardly at all. I also have a multivitamin with a probiotic and like a broccoli extract and some other mind thing I take. Nothing wild. But I have clove and oregano, and I just put those on the bottom of my feet, like for probably 3 or 4 nights. When I was really feeling bad was when I was putting the oils on the bottom of my feet. I'm not real sure if I could tell a difference so much the next day, but I cycled through this really, really well. And according to all my doctors, I still have a very low functioning immune system. So the fact that I could get through the shingles within by 2 weeks time and not have hardly anything on my face anymore is a really big deal. So I think my immune system is actually working a lot better than anyone thinks that it is. Because when I went back and talked to my doctors, the fact that I had this so recently, they were all like really pumped up about it, that my body had done so well getting through it. And I am so proud too. Like, I'm so proud of my immune system. I'm talking about it like it's a whole nother person, I'm so proud of them. But I used clove and oregano on the bottom of my feet. I did put a carrier oil on before. I just made my own essential oil carrier stick, put that on before I put the oils on. One night I didn't, and the oregano was pretty hot, so like my feet were warm for a while. My bedroom also smelled like spaghetti sauce for about 4 or 5 days. My husband didn't even say words, so that was nice. But those oils, I don't know, I think they're really great. I think they worked well. And again, even if I wasn't feeling like amazing the next morning, every day things were changing. You know, every day something different was happening on my face, some better, some worse. So I can't say that I was ever plateauing ever, you know. And again, 2 weeks and it was done. I don't know why I got it. I don't know how it happened. I don't think it's like stress related because I have a pretty stress free life. I mean, I have stress, but I don't let it run my life, you know, like I'm still happy and excited. So I just didn't think that that was it. But anyways, I'm glad that it's over. And if anyone has any questions about it, I can at least help them from my point of view of what I dealt with and how it went for me. But I will get those pictures up so you can kind of see the progress every day. I usually took it while I was in my car talking to my sister because I was giving my sister updates every single day about what was happening with my shingles. And she was, you know, researching online what that meant. And it was actually pretty funny. But hopefully this gave you guys a little bit of insight. If you have stories, share them. Let us know what you did, what made it worse, what made it better. We need to know, just as importantly, things not to do, just as we need to know things to do. Also, we're all different, so something that worked for me may not work for anyone else, but I 1.5% think that frankincense is a must-have when it comes to any type of skin ailment. I mean, it's just like, it's the best. My little one, my little 5 milliliter out of my everyday oils is bone dry. I really need to get another one. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.